My name is Thibaut. I'm a writer, director. The past few years I've been shooting my own short films. I say as a creative, it can be tough sometimes, emotionally, physically. Sometimes you feel like you're, by yourself, but sometimes you just need to, keep going. So I say I started filmmaking in college, and proper took it seriously after I graduated from uni, and been making short films ever since. So the long-term goal is to eventually move into feature films, but I got a few short films under my belt which I can share in I don't know how to share, but I can share somewhere in the description. I can share links to my short films that I've made. I would say I'm still learning as a filmmaker. The reason why I love film is because I can basically express myself through basically visual media. So visually I can ping my ideas across the world basically. So a lot of my films are on YouTube, so it's allowed me to basically share my vision of how I see the world with the rest of the world, if you know what I mean. So yeah, so my films are on YouTube. Again, I will share the links if you want to see them, and give me a thumbs up if you want to check out some of my short films. So as the title of this Zoom call is about being, how do I deal with being a creative and dealing with mental well-being. I'm not gonna lie, it is tough, but there are some ways that I try to tackle it. So as a writer, I write things down, so I feel like that helps a lot of writing things down. So sometimes when I have a lot on my mind, I write things down, just jot everything down. You don't even have to be pen or paper. Sometimes just jot on my phone. Yeah, just basically you just want to basically clear your head. So as a writer director, I put a lot of me in my work. So I feel like my short films, things that I create, is a reflection of myself. So what I go through as an individual is essentially a reflection of myself. So you always find a little bit of me in my short films. So it's quite, it's quite therapeutic for me writing. So that's how sometimes I get by, just write. When in doubt, I just write what I feel. And I like to write about relatable stuff. So in my short films, I like to touch on topics that are relatable. So a lot of my short films are romantic comedies. So I feel like everyone's been in a similar situation, and in these short films that not everyone, but a lot of people around me I know have been in a similar situation. So what I find about being a filmmaker, you do deal with anxiety. Yeah, writing things down definitely helps to get it through out of my head. Yeah. As a creative, as a filmmaker, you do deal with anxiety. I say sometimes I get anxiety a day before a big shoot. So in my head I'm thinking, I think that I might forget an important piece. So sometimes I have a checklist of what I need to bring to a shoot. So as a director, I'm basically responsible for, I'm not solely responsible for the success of the film, but I'm basically steering the ship. So I'm the creative force behind the film. That's that's the way I see it as a director as well. On set, everyone's looking to you for answers. So you have like a million questions flying towards you, asking if this is okay. The hair, makeup. Might ask if the makeup's alright. I don't know. The runners might ask you a question, and your cameraman, DOP, sound guy, will ask you a million questions. So I forgot my point, but yeah. So it can be quite stressful, but I feel like sometimes anxiety is a thing. So you want your film to basically be successful. So in your back of your mind, you feel responsible. So if, let's say this, if your short film does well, then basically you not take the credit, but you kind of responsible for that, because you help your film get to that stage. If your film fails, then you're basically taking responsibility for that. So after shoots that I have, one thing I do to wind down is basically just spend time by myself, not by myself, but spend time doing things that I like to do, basically. So you have a bit of me time. Personally, I would say I'm an introvert, so being around a lot of people can drain my energy quite a lot. So on set, you're around a lot of people. So the last short film I did in March, I was around so the crew alone was probably a crew of 20 people. That's not including the actors. That include the actors, probably on set at one time probably be around 50 people. So as an introvert, I feel like sometimes that drains my energy, and I just need time alone to just to recharge my batteries, basically. So after shoots like that, I find that I'm basically in isolation, not in isolation, but kind of in isolation before isolation was a thing. Yeah, even know what I'm saying. So I take a week off, and do the things that I like to do. Stay in, watch TV, catch up with some series that I always wanted to catch up on. Basically just some me time, so just to recharge my batteries. I don't know if anyone is an introvert. I mean, yeah, I don't know if anyone else is like that, and just show thumbs up if you have similar experiences dealing with a large number of people. But yeah, does anyone have any questions? Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, socializing can be. Oh, minute. Sorry, guys. Yeah, socializing can be quite exhausting, especially in a creative industry like filmmaking and doing short films. You're required to basically network in this industry. To say network is your net worth. So sometimes you're in an environment, the people from the network can basically vouch for this. So the TV network is basically like a how can I describe it? It's basically like an organization that takes on around 30 people who are interested in film, and every year they have like a scheme that basically helps young people, or not young people, but everyone get into, you know, the TV industry, and they take them to the Edinburgh TV Festival. And on one of the days there, they basically throw us in the deep end, and we're basically required to network. And I realized that networking is a skill that you have to work on, and but again, you have to basically socialize with people that you've never met before, so you kind of like forced to be outside your comfort zone. If anyone who's been in a room who a room full of people and you need to network, you realize how nervous you can be, or daunting that can be, and just walking up to people and trying to network and make conversation. But that's part of the industry. Making your short film was really in a way. Making short films, I think making short films can relieve. Can you make short films relieve? Well, think about that question. Truthfully, I don't think making short films would really relieve your anxiety, because you always be anxious. So whenever you're doing something that means, well, personally, whenever I do something that means like a lot to me, I always get anxious because I always want it to work out. So, but the end product is always worth it. So the end product is always worth it. So that's why I do it. I like the finished product of what all that work that I've basically done to that point. It's basically like a 15 or 20 minute short film. But I don't know if I'll ever get past the butterflies before like a big shoot. Maybe that's why I like doing short films, or love filmmaking. But yeah, I don't know, maybe that's something I need to work on. And no one's perfect, everyone's trying to learn every day. I don't know what level my anxiety is around shoot times, because I don't know what level my anxiety is basically, but yeah. I'm trying to think. Well, another thing that I try to do is basically, try to keep fit. I try to keep fit. Lockdown, even though lockdown has been, quite difficult to, keep fit. The last lockdown we had, the initial lockdown, the 6 months we had, I think I even, I was demoralized, but, I put on weight. So did a lot of people I know. A lot of people put on lockdown weight. Shout out to everyone who put lockdown weight. But I guess there was nothing else to do, during lockdown. So what else is there to do? Watch TV and just eat. But after lockdown was lifted, I was right back on it. So just going to the gym and start keeping healthy. I think that's another way to that I personally basically keep up with my mental well-being. Yeah. Does anyone have any other ways that they keep up with their mental well-being? What do you lot do? I can't say a bunch of, I guess. Jaffa cakes. Jaffa cakes is not really my favourite. I prefer, you know, custard creams, but I get what you're saying. I totally relate. But sometimes comfort eating is, you know, is needed. You know, after a long day, maybe you wanna get, you know, Jaffa cakes or, you know, cheesecake or whatever. But yes, definitely. I think music definitely goes a long way. Yoga, I haven't really tried yoga before. I have tried a music. I tried a sound bath at the beginning of 2020. I tried a sound bath to start my year positively at the beginning of 2020, but you know, that's 2020 ended up to be, you know, a crazy year for everyone. It hasn't been the best year for me personally. You know, a lot of ups and downs. It started off great. In basically, lockdown started during my birthday. Not during my birthday, but literally the week of my birthday, and that's literally after I just finished wrapped up a short film that I was filming for the past week. So I shot a short film just before lockdown, and I'm looking to release it hopefully by the end of the year, but it's, you know, COVID lockdown slowed everything down. Yeah, definitely reading. During lockdown, I managed to, you know, catch up on a few books that I was meaning to, you know, read. I'm not really a big reader, but when I do get into books, I literally, you know, I get stuck into the book. I say the last book I read was, if anyone knows who Akala is, it was Akala. Can't remember the name of the book. Is Race and Empire, something like that. I don't want to say the wrong book. Let me look up now. So yeah, the last book I read was Akala's Native Race and Class in the Ruins of Empire. So I definitely recommend that. So my short film is basically about a young father who basically wants to do better for his daughter, but something from his past is basically stopping him being a better man for his daughter. And in his short film, he's basically challenged with his past. So he's haunted by his past, and he has to overcome this like big thing that's basically stopping him from becoming a better father and a better man, if that makes sense. So hopefully it should be out by the end of the year. Yeah, got a few good faces in there. Spent a lot of time on it. Hopefully you lot can get to see it. You know, I'll post it on my socials and it'll be on YouTube for everyone to see. What type of music would you say is calming, and, you know, what type of music would you put on at the end of a stressful day? Do you think creative well-being is discussed enough within the film industry? I think the creative well-being, I don't think it is really discussed enough. I don't really see it. A lot of the times you see on social media what people are working on. So for example, this filmmaker might be working on this film, and this filmmaker might be working on this film, but you don't really show the work behind it. So they're just saying basically Instagram and social media is basically a showreel. Nobody really shows what goes behind the highlights of them winning an award and making this film, or them, you know, just winning, you know, getting a job on this film production. So it's basically like a highlight reel. No one really discusses like the hard work, blood, sweat and tears that goes on just to get to that point. I feel like sometimes it is, you know, glamorized. The grind is glamorized, but when you're actually in it, you know that, you know, it's really hard work, and sometimes it can, you know, take a toll on your mental well-being. But in the film industry, I feel like you're told just to, you know, pay your dues and get on with it, which, you know, isn't the best advice. But long story short, no, I don't think it's discussed near as enough as it should be. You know, mental health is a big thing these days, but not these days, but it's always been a big thing. But it should be taken more seriously, especially in the film industry. Yeah. But any more questions? Does anyone else want to share their stories on what basically what they have? Definitely, production companies and, you know, directors definitely need to take more responsibility for their mental health. I feel like this industry can chew someone up and spit them back out. And sometimes I had, you know, days where I feel like, you know, why am I doing this? Is it all worth it? But you just need to, you know, sometimes you need to believe in yourself and just, you know, trust the process and just believe in the process. And, you know, obviously you'll get there eventually. No one's journey is the same. My journey isn't the same as another person's journey. So that's one thing I had to learn over the years, especially, you know, you got social media, and I keep going to social media. Notice how I keep going to social media, because I feel like social media is good and bad, but bad in a lot of ways, because you look at social media and you look at how well other people are doing, rather than focusing on yourself, and you ask yourself, why am I not doing as well as this person on social media? But like I said earlier, you know, social media is just a social media is just a highlight reel. People just post on the Instagram what they want you to see. But yeah. So the tips I would say how to manage my workload and mental well-being is basically, I would try to be as organized as possible. You know what to say, the saying, if you fail to prepare to fail, basically. So just be as organized as possible. One of the main things I would say is basically having a checklist. So the day before, or not the day before, that's a bad example. Let's say, you know, weeks before the actual big day, or what you're shooting, whatever you're doing, have a checklist of what you're doing, or what you're bringing on set. yeah, I'll say one of the big things is just having a checklist and just being organized. Maybe, you know, like I said, just spending a bit of time with yourself. All work, no play is never, it's not a good mix. You always need time with yourself. You don't want to burn yourself out. Also have you know, I feel like people don't emphasize enough how important sleep is, especially the day before a shoot. I get so nervous sometimes. The day before a shoot, I can hardly sleep, and sometimes that can affect your decision making on set because you haven't had enough sleep. Or, you know, sometimes on set you're shooting for, you know, 12-hour days, and you know, you're getting home and then you're working for like you're sleeping for 3 hours. But sometimes, you know, that takes a toll on your body. So, you know, managing the workload, sometimes, you know, I would say sleep is very, very important. You know, sometimes, I don't know, sometimes when you hear millionaires talk, they talk about they're always up, they wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, 4 o'clock in the morning. They say sleep was for broke people. That's what they say. Some millionaires say sleep was for broke people, but I would disagree. I say sleep is important. I wouldn't say, you know, sleep in all the time, but, you know, sleep is important. You know, what's the point of, you know, going, you know, what's the point of basically attacking your dream, and if you ain't got no energy to actually, you know, do the task that's needed. Yeah, definitely. Everyone knows the importance of sleep. I think sometimes, as a creative, we need to recognize the small wins that we actually do get. So sometimes I'm so like focused in what I want or what the finish line is, that sometimes I don't really recognize the small wins that I do get of how far I've become, I've been. Well, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, sometimes you don't recognize how far you've gotten, because you're so focused. Sometimes I feel like you have to recognize the small wins. You know, some people haven't been as far as you, and you know, you got to recognize that. So my favorite part of shooting, 1 minute, sorry guys. So my favorite part of shooting, I'll say, is basically collaborating with the actors. I'll say, because a lot of the times actors would bring, you know, their own version of the script, or their imprint of how they see their character, and sometimes, well, not sometimes, but a lot of times it's quite interesting to see their POV of how they should, you know, portray their character. You know, a lot of the times I do, like I said, I'm a writer director, so what I film, genuinely most of the time I've written. So collaborating with the actors is always, for me, is the best part of shooting. You get to see, you know, something that you've written down and a character that you've created. It's kind of interesting to see how the actors bring it to life, or their point of view on the character. Or, you know, I've got my own interpretation of the character, and they've got their own interpretation, and it's always like fun to see what they bring, basically, and you know, how they're bringing it to life, and you know, and brainstorming ideas together. You know, filmmaking is a collaborative process, and the best part of post, I would say, is basically just you know, just I say like the first edit, the first like draft that you get of your film. I say that's the best bit for me, because you kind of see your vision coming together on like a screen, whatever size, big screen or small screen, for the first time. So you kind of see all those weeks or whatever months or how long you've been working for is basically came, whether it was a success or it was a failure. So the first draft in post production, I say that's the best bit for me. So the first time you actually see your film, the first assemble, yeah, that's my favorite part of post. Do you have any tips on how to maybe distance yourself from negativity, comparing yourself to others? The tips I would say, I know it's easier said than done. Basically, just have your blinkers on. Just focus on yourself. You know, everyone's journey is different. One example, you know, Quincy Jones, producer, famous American producer, who produced Michael Jackson's Thriller album. You know, there's no, I think a lot of times we put pressure on ourselves on what age is acceptable to be basically successful, especially in this like social media generation. Everyone's a millionaire at 21. Well, a lot of the times people are really successful on later on their life. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves to get it while we're young. I think again, you know, what we see around us, everyone seems like they're a millionaire at 21 and 25, and I'll say it doesn't really matter what age you really achieve success at. Quincy Jones, he was a producer of Michael Jackson for that album. Basically, I think the best-selling album of all time. He was basically, I think it's in his 50s when he basically produced that album, and yeah, and became like the best-selling album of all time. I think maybe 100 million albums sold, and just goes to show that you know, you still got time. Sometimes I look at myself and feel like I'm old. I mean, I'm still in my 20s, not for too long, but I'm still in my 20s. But I feel like I've got a long way to go. But one thing I would say, just keep your blinkers on. Don't look at anyone else, and just know that your journey is different from the next person's journey, and just keep doing what you're doing, and just basically just trust in the process. Just trust in the process, because right now I'm in my early stages of the career. I basically make films on what I want to do, make films on topic matters that I want to make films on, and I basically have 90% creative control in my films. But I know later on in my career I might not have that much creative control. I'll have creative control, but there will be more people having a say of how my film's gonna end up, basically. So for now, I'll say just enjoy the process. Don't look at what other people are doing. Just focus on yourself. You're only in competition with yourself at the end of the day. So yeah, those are my tips to maybe stay focused. And if you have a clear plan of what you want to do, then you're halfway there. And basically, surround yourself with people on the same mission as you. For the past 5 years, I was part of a production company called Fully Focused Productions. So the way I got into Fully Focused Production is basically a youth-led media organisation who basically help young people to get into the film industry. So Fully Focused was, well, still is, a training ground for young filmmakers like myself who basically want to break in the industry. For the past 5 years, I've basically been making, you know, sketches, short films. That was basically my training ground, for, you know, for the long run. So the way I see the short films that I'm making right now, I feel like I'm training for the Olympics. So the short films I'm making right now will eventually, you know, my goal is to, you know, start making feature films. So the feature films, the way I see feature films is the Olympics. Because a lot of the times I hear that, you know, if you do get funded to get like a feature film, you manage to get money from this place, this place, and, you know, it goes down south, and you basically won't be able to make a feature film. Well, it would be kind of hard to make another feature film. So, you know, I don't really want to waste that opportunity. So I'd rather, you know, perfect my craft, you know, keep filmmaking. A lot of the times, what people say in the film industry is basically keep shooting, just keep filming, keep filming. And what I've been doing, just exactly what I've been doing, keep filming. I feel like every film that I've made, I've become better. So the film I made in, let's say 2018 or 2017, the film I made in March is miles better, whether it's production wise, whether it's like the performance wise, yeah, before whether it's, you know, sound wise, you can see like a difference. So in 2019 I won a short film award, for best short film on online content. YouTube is basically called, let me look at it. Sounds bad, but let me look. I don't know the award name. It sounds bad, sorry guys. Just searching out now, sorry. Sorry, my mind just literally just went blank. But yeah, so anyway, I won a short film award in 2018, and I'll say that film was okay, but the film that I shot in March is way better. I say production, value, acting, just story-wise, everything. So I'm kind of taking my own advice, as in I'm always shooting, always learning. I feel like 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, I'll always be like a student of film. I'm always learning every day. Every short film, I learn from every short film. So I realize what to do better in the next short film. So anything that goes wrong in my last film, I kind of remember not to do that in my next film. Yeah, has anyone got any more questions? Thank you, Stuart. Long time. I hope you're alright. If anyone hasn't got any more questions, I think I'm gonna, you know, bring it to an end. It's been nice talking to everyone. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for letting me share my story. You know, this is the first time I'm doing something like this, so You can tell I was a bit nervous sometimes. You know, things, my mind just went blank. But shout out to people who joined in. Make sure you follow all the socials. 1 minute. Make sure you follow Be Extra Wellbeing for the Arts on Facebook, on Instagram, and Twitter, all the social platforms that they're currently on. And yeah, it's been a good one. I hope everyone has a nice day, rest of a nice day, and see you soon. Well, see you when I see you.